Have you ever wondered what it would feel like to wake up completely alone on a spaceship 90 years before anyone else? Hi, I'm Jessica Moore, and welcome to Jessica Recaps. Today, I'm taking you on a journey through a suspenseful, emotional, sci-fi film from 2016, Passengers. But this isn't just a love story in space, it's a chilling tale of isolation, impossible choices, and a secret that could destroy everything. Let's begin. The interstellar spaceship Avalon glides silently through deep space. Its destination: a distant colony world called Homestead 2. On board are over 5,000 passengers and 258 crew members, all in deep hibernation, set to awaken just 4 months before arrival. The ship is fully automated, elegant, and silent, but everything changes in an instant. The Avalon passes through an asteroid field. One asteroid slams directly into the ship, damaging its shield system. The ship reroutes power to protect itself, but it's too late. The impact triggers a chain of system malfunctions, and without warning, one single hibernation pod opens. Inside is Jim Preston, a mechanical engineer. He wakes up dazed, confused, and completely alone. An automated voice welcomes him, informing him that he's just months away from arriving on Homestead 2. He's guided to his cabin, shown the ship's luxurious amenities, and given instructions on how to enjoy the rest of his journey. But something feels off. When Jim enters what's supposed to be a bustling orientation class, he finds only a lifeless hologram talking to empty seats. The hologram explains Earth has become overcrowded and overpriced, and Homestead 2 is humanity's next big hope. But when Jim asks questions, the hologram ignores him. It's not real, and worse, no one else is there. Jim explores the ship, growing more and more anxious. He visits the main concourse, empty. He asks a digital help desk to speak with someone, anyone. It directs him to a steward. No one's there either. He tries the captain's bridge, locked. Peering through the window, he realizes something horrifying. No crew members are awake. Jim stumbles into the ship's observatory, hoping for answers. But what he sees crushes him. Homestead 2 isn't 4 months away. It's 90 years away. Jim's been woken up far too early, and he can't go back to sleep. Desperate, he sends a message to Earth, but the system warns him. A reply will take 55 years to arrive. He's completely stranded, alone, on a ship built for thousands. For the rest of his life, days pass. Jim discovers the bar and a humanoid bartender named Arthur. At first, Jim is relieved to see another face, until he realizes Arthur is an android, a clever, charming one, but still just a machine. Jim tries to fix his hibernation pod. He builds tools, opens the panel, and lies down, hoping it will work. It doesn't. He attempts to access the cruise pods, no luck. He eats alone, drinks alone, wanders the empty corridors alone. Small glitches and malfunctions start happening throughout the ship, and slowly, Jim begins to unravel. Arthur becomes his only friend, a robot programmed to offer casual conversation and drinks. But no matter how real Arthur feels, he isn't human. And Jim is utterly, painfully alone. Eventually, Jim gives up, drunk and despondent. He puts on a spacesuit and walks out into space. The view is breathtaking. Stars stretch endlessly in every direction. Floating there, he considers ending it all. He returns inside, takes off the suit, and walks back to the airlock, ready to open it. But at the last moment, something stops him. He slips. A bottle rolls across the floor. And when he stands up, he sees her, a beautiful woman inside one of the sleeping pods. Her name is Aurora Lane. He looks her up in the passenger directory, watches her recorded interviews, reads her writing, and suddenly Jim isn't just surviving anymore. He's obsessed. Aurora Lane was a writer from New York, bold, brilliant, and full of dreams. In her passenger profile, she said she wanted to travel to Homestead to not just to live there, but to write about the journey, then return to Earth and tell the world. She wasn't running away. She was chasing purpose. Jim watches her footage again and again. He reads her work. He listens to her laugh, and that's when the idea forms. He could wake her up. The moral weight of it nearly crushed him. If he does this, she'd be stuck to heal, be condemning her to a lifetime alone just for his own sanity. He paces the ship, talks to Arthur, argues with himself. He even prepares the tools, and then walks away. But loneliness is a heavy thing. After weeks of torment, Jim makes his decision. He disables Aurora's pod. It opens. She wakes up, just like he did, confused, terrified, and completely unaware. Jim pretends it was a random malfunction. He helps her settle in, gently guiding her through the shock. She asks about the ship, the crew, the mission. He answers most of the truth, but not all of it. Aurora begins adjusting. She explores, writes, swims, runs. She joins Jim for meals, talks to Arthur at the bar, laughs more each day. Over time, to grow closer. He's kind, she's curious. He shares his mechanical skills. She shares stories from Earth. And slowly, a romance blooms. They kiss, they dance, they make love. For the first time in over a year, Jim feels happy, but beneath that happiness is a lie. Jim knows he stole her future, and one day, she might find out. That day comes sooner than he fears. One evening, while Jim is away, Aurora visits Arthur at the bar. She mentions something about how lucky she was to wake up, and Arthur, being helpful, says, "Well, Jim said waking you up was the best decision he ever made." Silence. Aurora freezes. "What do you mean?" she asks, and in that moment, the truth unravels. Arthur explains everything. Jim didn't tell him to lie. Aurora is shattered. She confronts Jim, furious, betrayed, and heartbroken. "You murdered me," she screams. "You took my life, my choice, my future." Jim begs for forgiveness, tries to explain how desperate he was, but she wants nothing to do with him. They stop speaking. Aurora runs through the ship. She screams into the void. She punches walls, cries in silence, writes. In rage, Jim spirals again, this time worse than before. And just when their pain seems unbearable, something on the ship explodes. The ship jolts violently, lights flicker, doors malfunction. Systems fail. Something is seriously wrong. And then, a miracle. A crew pod opens. Gus Mancuso, a senior deck chief, stumbles out, weak, coughing, and confused. Jim and Aurora rush to him. Gus is stunned to find them awake, and even more shocked when he learns why. He runs diagnostics on the ship and confirms their fears. The Avalon is suffering from cascading system failures. Multiple subsystems are damaged. Some are overheating, others are close to collapse. And if the ship continues like this, it'll be destroyed long before reaching Homestead 2. Together, the three of them work to assess the damage. They wear diagnostic bands, inspect oxygen gardens, power systems, reactor rooms, and slowly piece together the truth. It all started with that asteroid hit. The impact caused a hidden fire deep inside the ship's reactor control panel. The fire shorted key systems, and now the main reactor is overheating. If the core fails, the ship will explode. All 5,000 sleeping souls on board. Jim and Gus try to reach the main control deck, but the door won't open. They improvise, bypass locks, and force their way in. Inside, warning lights flash red. The temperature is rising. Emergency cooling systems are offline. Meanwhile, Aurora begins to see Jim differently again. He didn't just doom her life. He's now risking his to save everyone else. But then a tragedy strikes. Gus collapses. His body is failing. The damage from his pod malfunction is irreversible. In his final moments, he gives Jim and Aurora full crew access, all passwords, all clearance. He tells them, save the ship, and then Gus dies. Now it's just Jim and Aurora, and the Avalon is on the verge of death. With full crew access, Jim and Aurora rush to the ship's damaged core. The reactor is failing fast. Temperatures are spiking. Pressure is building. If they don't act now, the entire ship and everyone on board will be destroyed. Jim figures out what needs to be done. They have to manually vent the reactor's heat from outside the ship. Aurora begs him not to do it. It's a suicide mission. But Jim doesn't hesitate. He suits up, walks into the tether, and heads into the void of space. Aurora stays inside, guiding him through the emergency override panel. Time is running out. Jim opens the vent, but the pressure is too high. Door slams shut again. He'll have to hold it open manually from inside. Aurora screams, "Jim, come back. You'll die." But he doesn't stop. Reactor vents just in time. A massive blast of heat and fire shoots into space. The ship stabilizes. Jim floats motionless. Zora pulls his tether back in, panicked, crying. She hauls him into the medical bay, places him on the table, and slams the machine's emergency protocols. Nothing. A flicker. Jim gas cheese. Oliveth Avalon is saved. All 5,000 passengers and crew are still asleep, safe. And now, Jim and Aurora have a choice. Later, Jim discovers something unexpected. The medical pod, the one that saved his life, has a hibernation setting, but only for one person. He tells Aurora, "You can go back to sleep. You can still live your dream." Aurora stares at the pod, then looks at Jim. He gave up everything to save her. She can't leave him behind. Years later, when the crew finally awakens, just months from Homestead 2, they find the Grand Concourse, filled with plants, trees, and life. Jim and Aurora spent their lifetime building a home on the ship together, a love story. Born from isolation, shaped by betrayal, saved by sacrifice, and lived fully in the most unlikely place imaginable. This was Passengers 2016, a hauntingly beautiful sci-fi romance that asks the hardest question of all. If you were alone in space, how far would you go to not be alone anymore? Thanks for watching Jessica Recaps. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell for more cinematic breakdowns where the emotion runs deep and the suspense never stops.